The fights to make coming out of UFC 306, Noche UFC, at the Sphere. Merab Dvalishvili, you are the new UFC Bantamweight champion. Congratulations, you get Umar Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov won that title eliminator earlier this year and is the deserving next in line. They hyped it up at the pay-per-view, so why not? I think that has to be the fight. I don't know who else the challenger would be. O'Malley didn't come close in that fight to earning an immediate rematch, so that's a no. And there's no one else even in that ballpark right now. So that is a no for me. Sean O'Malley against Corey Sandhagen is, I think, what should be next for Sean O'Malley. I think it would be a wild fight. Both of them coming off of losses in some very big fights. O'Malley obviously losing in this most recent one against Merab, while Sandhagen lost his bout to Nurmagomedov, that title eliminator. And so I think that is a fight that you absolutely could make, and I think it would kind of bounce some things back a little bit, and I kind of rehab the bounce things back a little bit, wasn't how I wanted to say that. It would rehab the image, I think, of Sean O'Malley, as Dana White has kind of shit on him a little bit coming out of this fight, and I think that would be a good way to kind of build him back up, because this would be a very fun fight, and I think you would get a title challenger, might be a bit of a stretch, but reestablish a contender anyway in at 135 pounds. Moving on, Valentina Shevchenko. She is the champion again. I know that her rivalry right now with Alexa Grasso is 1-1-1. I would not do that. I think that this was such a one-sided beatdown and such a dominant performance that I think you have to kind of separate Grasso from this one a little bit now. And so I do think that this is a opportunity to let some other fighters kind of get into this one. And so I would go, apologies for the pronunciation, but Menon Fiorot. She's on a 12-fight winning streak. She is coming off of wins over Erin Blanchfield and Rose Namajunas. She has been one of the, real up-and-comers here for a little bit, and getting an opportunity now to really shine. She's beat everyone. It is just so clearly the next option for her is a title opportunity here. And like Shevchenko, it's a fresh fight that she hasn't had in a couple of years, so that'll be fun. And then Alexa Grasso, I have her against Macy Barber. Barber is finally starting to reach her potential, and really do think that she is someone who could make some noise and be a bit of a star going forward a little bit. So I do think that this is an interesting fight for her. And kind of okay, you have Grasso coming off of a disappointing performance in the main event, or in the co-main event there, against Shevchenko. You have Barber, who is kind of on the rise. These two fought back in 2001, and so this is an opportunity to see either, okay, what has Grasso learned, and can she bounce back, or what has Barber learned? How does she develop, and is she now ready for this championship opportunity? And so I do think that is going to be an interesting bout, and one that I would absolutely make going forward. We have Diego Lopez against Max Holloway or Ilya Topuria, the winner of that. Lopez deserves a title shot. I think coming out of that, he has absolutely earned it. He's ready for a title shot. That was a beatdown of a guy who was in the top 3. He has put on some unbelievable finishes and some unbelievable fights. And so I think that this is now the time for him to get going and for him to get this championship opportunity. So Topuria and Holloway, they're going to throw it down coming up here. But I do think that the winner gets Diego Lopez. And for Brian Ortega, this is where the UFC model stumbles a little bit. Ortega has been in some absolute just battles the last few years. He could probably use a tune-up fight, right? This is one, we talked about it with Izzy a little bit ago. You could probably use a fight where it's you know what? This isn't against a top 10 guy. It's still it's fighting, it's still brain damage, it's whatever. But I kind of just need to get right here, and let's just see where I'm at. And if I lose that, then oh shit, we're in trouble. The UFC doesn't work that way. If you're in the top, you fight the top. There are no tune-up fights or anything like that. And so I have him against Yair Rodriguez. They've each fought. They fought each other twice. Each have won one. So let's trilogy this thing up. I would anticipate that not going well for Ortega, which kind of sucks for him, but I do think that that is the most logical way to come out of this fight card here from the weekend. All right, for those of you who are joining us live, you guys have been amazing. Thank you guys so much. I have loved every little bit of it. We're now over 100 followers at 101, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you guys so much for that. I want to be a little bit more interactive with these going forward. So, if you have any tips, let me know. As Deeds and Toxic will let you know. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants on all of these and trying to learn all of this shit on the fly. And so any tips or anything like that, by all means, let me know. Also, I do actual video games on here on Mondays and Wednesdays. And so for Monday, I want to know what you guys want to see me play. We have a Flames rebuild going on right now. We have a WWE 2K24 My GM, and we're trying to turn the Blue Jays into a dynasty. Also, we just talked a whole lot of boxing, and I have Fight Night Round 3. And I need to figure out if my hookups still work for all of those, and this would motivate me if we picked that one. So a few choices to roll with here so far. Yes, Bunk 100% addicted to My GM. They made some tweaks that I didn't love, but overall it is still, I could play that thing for hours. We again, Toxic and Deeds and Big John, when he's in the chat, they can all attest. I kind of get lost in it a little bit, and then all of a sudden, an hour and a half have gone by. It's like, oh well, I had other things to do today. So that one, if that one wins out, absolutely happy to do it. Sakuragi himself, prediction: John Bones Jones against Stipe Miocic. I think you have to go with John Jones there. I think if both guys were fighting in their prime, it would still be John Jones. But because of the layoff by the time this fight gets to November, if we actually have it, then I just think it's so far out for Stipe to then have to step back in against the most talented fighter the sport has ever seen. It's too much. It is far too much to ask of Stipe Miocic. So I will go Johnny Bones Jones there. And then I will pick Tom Aspinall to just absolutely destroy John Jones after that. So that would be my predictions there. Also, Larry Merchant was so making criticisms on Floyd while he took some respect and praise on Manny Pacquiao in the 2000s. Oh yeah, they had their favorites for sure. And as like the Money Mayweather was really interesting because there was a bit there, like he was the most exciting guy in the sport, right? Like he was out there and he was just blasting guys and he was coming up with big wins and all of this. And then he kind of realized, I might be like the best defensive fighter ever in the sport, or at least like top 5. And it's a whole lot better when I just don't get punched in the head. So if I can just do that and just win enough rounds, then hey, look at this. I'm still making a bajillion dollars. And I also am, not taking all that brain damage. So he kind of recognized that, but I do think there was a little bit of hostility, might be a bit of a strong word, but a sour taste in HBO Boxing's mouth coming off of that one. Okay, we're going to wrap up the show here. There's a couple boxing cards coming up here this weekend. So we're going to wrap up the show looking at them. But Sakuragi, again, asking Alex Pereira versus Roundtree, your predictions. I think Pereira wins it within a round. I think he is so superior to Khalil Roundtree. The two are not in the same universe. This feels like, and look, I like Roundtree. He was an Ultimate Fighter guy, right? I watched him on the Ultimate Fighter and really enjoyed him. I was one of like 8 people who watched that season still. But so I like Roundtree. He is not in this level, not even close to this level. I think Pereira ends this fight as soon as he wants to, basically, and puts Khalil Roundtree away. So I think that is within a round. Also, it's interesting you bring up the heavyweights and then Pereira. Let's get this guy a heavyweight fight. Why this man is, to steal a Brian Campbell term, daring to be great. Why are we denying him that opportunity? I don't even think we should care who that heavyweight is. Like this could be Anderson Silva against Sandman Irving, where it's just like, yeah, doesn't need to be a top 10 guy. Just let him do it. Let's just see it. Let's just have Pereira against Tai Tuivasa and just figure it out that way. And so I don't get why we aren't allowing him to do that. And so I think it is fitting that you kind of bring them both up. I think Pereira against a John Jones would be a whole lot of fun. And I think that a Pereira against any heavyweight would be interesting, as he goes to be the first guy ever to have 3 different or championships in 3 different weight classes in the UFC.